Welcome to Doctorates of the Absurd, your provider of belief on demand.
Belief on demand. That is a hell of a promise to make this early in the recording.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Or late, depending on when you're listening to this.
Well, exactly. But it felt right for today. It really did.
It felt right. We are staring into a very particular kind of abyss today. And I figure if we're going to do that, we might as well have a catchy slogan.
A mission statement.
It sounds like a subscription service for the soul, doesn't it? For $9.99 a month, we will provide you with a coherent narrative for your life, delivered straight to your earbuds.
I think that is, without exaggeration, the most valuable product on Earth right now. Coherence, certainty, a story that holds together.
And funnily enough, that is exactly what we are deconstructing today.
It is. We're looking at the most expensive, most energy-consuming subscription service for meaning that humanity has ever built.
We are indeed. And today is, well, it's a weird one. I was looking through the notes.
It's an odd mix.
Usually on a deep dive, we take a stack of articles, reports, something concrete about a single topic, crypto or the housing market, and we pull out the facts. We look for the data.
We look for the signal in the noise.
Exactly. But today, our source material includes classic noir films from the 1940s.
Check.
Irish poetry from the 1920s,
Okay.
French philosophy from the 1970s, and of course, the hottest, most inescapable tech topic on the planet right now.
It is an eclectic mix, certainly. It looks like the syllabus for a liberal arts degree that costs way, way too much money.
It really does.
Yeah.
But there is a thread, isn't there? A very specific, very, tension-filled thread that ties W.B. Yeats, the Maltese Falcon, and ChatGPT together.
There is, and that thread is, well, it's nothing.
Nothing.
Literally nothing. Or, to be more precise, the absence of something. The hole in the middle of the donut. The void at the center.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Because usually when we talk about AI, which is, the topic du jour, we talk about the specs.
Like the technical stuff.
We talk about neural nets or GPUs or how many billions of parameters the new model has. We talk about whether it's going to take our jobs or write our sonnets or cure cancer. We talk about it like it's a tool.
Or a weapon.
Or a weapon, yeah. But looking at these sources, we aren't talking about the tech at all. We're talking about birds.
We are talking about two very specific birds. Two falcons. And the argument here is so radically different from the usual tech discourse. The premise isn't about whether AI is smart or dumb or good or evil. The premise is, what if the AI, like the falcon, isn't actually there?
The falcon does not exist. That's the title of the main source text we're working with today. Okay, let's set the stage. We have a tale of two falcons. Walk me through the first one.
All right. The first one is literary. It comes from W.B. Yeats' poem, The Second Coming. And you probably know the lines, even if you haven't read the poem recently.
Oh, for sure.
It's the most looted poem in the English language. I mean, you hear it in movies, TV shows, political speeches. It's everywhere.
Turning and turning in the widening gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer.
Exactly. And then the absolute kicker, things fall apart. The center cannot hold.
It's the go-to quote for every journalist whenever things get even slightly chaotic politically.
It really is, and it sets such a specific mood, doesn't it? You picture this bird flying in these huge, ever-expanding spirals, that's the gyre, getting further and further away into the sky.
Until the guy with the glove, the falconer, is just this tiny speck on the ground, the connection is broken.
The signal is lost. The bird has gone rogue, and the context here is just so key. Yeats was writing this in 1919, right in the aftermath of World War I.
The war to end all wars.
A whole generation wiped out. And at the same time, you have the Irish War of Independence, the Russian Revolution. The world was literally shattering around him. The old empires, the old certainties were collapsing.
So the falcon is a symbol of that chaos.
It represents a kind of pure orbiting detachment. It has flown so far away from the falconer, which you can read as control or the center or God or tradition or order, that the system has broken down. It's the symbol of high anxiety.
It's the feeling that no one is driving the bus.
Exactly. The bird is real, but it's lost. It represents the terror of a system spinning out of control because the authority at the center has just vanished.
Okay, so Falcon 1 is the lost bird. It's the symbol of, uh-oh, we lost the signal. A crisis of control. Now pivot. Take me to Falcon 2.
Falcon 2 is cinematic. It's from Dashiell Hammett's novel, The Maltese Falcon, but specifically the 1941 John Huston film.
Ah, classic. Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade.
Yeah.
Quintessential noir. You've got the shadows, the fedora hats, the cigarette smoke you can practically smell through the screen.
Precisely. And in that story, the Maltese Falcon is this statuette. It's this black bird, heavy, about a foot high.
And it has this incredible backstory, right?
An amazing backstory. It's supposed to be a gift from the Knight Templars of Malta to the King of Spain in the 1500s. It's meant to be solid gold, encrusted with the finest jewels in existence, emeralds, rubies, diamonds, but it's painted over with black enamel to hide its value during transport.
And everyone in the movie goes absolutely insane for this thing.
They kill for it. They betray each other without a second thought. They lie, they cheat, they travel across the entire world, all for this one object. It drives every single scene. It is the ultimate MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin.
Yeah.
The thing the characters want, but the audience doesn't really care what it is, just that they want it.
Exactly. And Casper Gutman, the fat man, has spent 17 years of his life looking for it.
17 years. That's some serious dedication. So, spoiler alert for an 80-year-old movie. What happens when they finally get it?
That is the scene, the climax. They're all in the apartment. The tension is just unbearable. Bogart's character, Sam Spade, finally gets his hands on the bundle. He unwraps it. It's there. He takes out a knife and starts scraping away the black enamel.
Expecting to see that glitter of gold and diamonds underneath.
And nothing. It's lead.
Just lead.
It's a worthless leaden lump, a counterfeit. The jewels aren't there. It's a heavy doorstop. After all that murder and betrayal and 17 years of searching, it's a fake.
Bogart has that perfect line at the end, right, when the cops ask him what it is.
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Which is so ironic, because dreams are made of nothing. It's a lead fake.
And this is the crucial pivot point for our entire discussion today. The source material asks us this really provocative question. What if we combine these two falcons? What if the center that Yeats was so worried about, the one that couldn't hold? What if it wasn't just broken? What if it was never there in the first place?
Whoa. Okay. Pause there. So you're saying not just the falcon cannot hear the falconer, but more like there is no falcon and there never was a falconer.
That's it. That is the radical premise. The synthesis here is that our entire society is structured around a majestic vacancy. We are all chasing a lead fake, but we need to believe it's gold so that the chase itself makes sense.
Because if the characters in the movie knew the bird was fake in the first scene, there's no movie.
There's no movie. There's no plot. And the source argues that artificial intelligence, this thing we're all completely obsessed with, is just the latest, most expensive, most computationally intensive lead falcon we've ever decided to chase.
And we're doing it to keep the movie of our civilization running.
We are.
That's a heavy concept.
Yeah.
So, the argument is that AI is a conceptual holding cell for our spiritual crisis.
That is the exact phrase from the text. A conceptual holding cell. We are not talking about code here. We are not talking about hardware. We're talking about meaning. The mission of this deep dive, really, is to deconstruct what the source calls the cult of meaning surrounding AI.
And the central thesis of that cult is what?
It's that we don't actually want AI to think.
We don't. But I feel like everyone is terrified that it is thinking. That's the headline every single day.
Yeah.
Is it sentient? Does it have a soul? Is it conscious?
No. According to this theory, we are terrified of it actually thinking. Genuine alien thought would be disruptive. It would be uncontrollable. It wouldn't care about us. What we actually want is for it to mean.
For it to mean.
We want it to be a vessel. We want to be able to look at it and see something looking back at us. We need the falcon to be real, because if it is, then our 17 years of chasing it actually mattered.
Okay, hold on. This sounds profound, but let's try and ground it. Because right now, I'm picturing a chatbot and a lead bird sitting at a bar, and I'm not sure what they're talking about. Let's move into the narrative arc here. The drama. What is the existential itch that this theory is trying to scratch? Why are we doing this? Why build this conceptual holding cell?
The itch is that we are unmoored. Just think about the last few decades. The old anchors of society, organized religion, big unifying ideologies like communism or capitalism with a capital C, even clear narratives of progress or the unquestioned authority of the nation state, and they've all eroded.
They've lost their power.
They've become fragmented. We're left in this chaotic digital world. The source describes it as screaming into an algorithmic void, desperate for an echo that sounds like purpose.
Wow. That feels incredibly relatable. You open social media and it's just noise. There's no center. There's no agreed upon truth. One person's algorithm shows them one world. Another person shows them a completely different, incompatible one.
Right. And society, structurally, hates a vacuum. We cannot function in total chaos. We need a center to organize our field of meaning. We need something to look at and say, that thing holds the truth. That thing is the gold standard. That's what we're all oriented towards.
So if we don't have a god or a king or a clear American dream that everyone believes in, we need a substitute.
We desperately need a substitute. We need a vacuum to believe in. We need an object that we can all agree is the thing, even if we don't agree on what it is.
And the specific anxiety here, it's not just about technology. The text calls it the loss of the referent. That's a fancy term.
It is, but the idea is simple. It's the feeling that nothing refers to anything real anymore.
Like everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. You see deepfakes, you see fake news, you see crypto tokens that represent memes of other crypto tokens. It feels ungrounded.
Exactly. The source has a great line for this. It says, "We feel the world is as coherent as a chatbot's grocery list, and that terrifies us."
A chatbot's grocery list. That's perfect. A random assortment of things that statistically seem like they should go together, but have no underlying logic. Milk, bread, existential dread, light bulbs.
Exactly. And we can't live like that. We need something to tie it all together.
Yeah.
We need a superintelligence to come down from the cloud and say, here is the answer, here's the structure, here's the meaning. We are begging for a falconeer to come back and call the bird home.
Which brings us to the villain of our story. But based on everything you're saying, the villain isn't the AI. It's not Skynet coming to get us.
No, Skynet is a fantasy. It's actually a comforting fantasy if you think about it.
How is it comforting?
Because at least Skynet pays attention to us. Skynet hates us, which means we matter enough to be hated. The villain in this story is what the source calls the cult of meaning. It is our own desperate, insatiable need to project meaning where there is none.
So the bad guy is us, or at least our own deep-seated insecurity.
In a way. The misconception the source attacks is the idea that AI is primarily a technological entity. The source calls AI a rhetorical black hole.
A rhetorical black hole. I love that image. It sucks in words and money and hope and fear and spits out what?
Hype. Just pure hype. And look at the culprits that are identified in the text. You have two main groups who seem like polar opposites, the tech evangelists and the doomers.
Oh, yeah. We know these archetypes well. The evangelists are the ones on Twitter and at TED Talks saying, this is your co-pilot for everything. This will solve cancer. This will eliminate all drudgery. We are building a benevolent God that will give us universal basic income and eternal life. They're selling utopia in a box.
Right. And then you have the doomers. They're the ones writing the open letters and testifying before Congress saying, this is an existential risk, this is an extinction event, this is the end of humanity. We are building a demon that will turn us all into paperclips.
And usually we see those as opposite sides of a really heated debate. They're fighting at conferences, they're lobbying against each other. It seems like a fundamental conflict.
But look closer. The source argues they are worshiping at the same altar. They are both praying to the same hollow icon.
How so? How can the person trying to sell it and the person trying to ban it be on the same team?
Because both of them need the stakes to be cosmically, apocalyptically high. The evangelist needs the AI to be godlike so they can sell it for billions and feel like they're saving the world. The doomer needs the AI to be godlike, a wrathful, all-powerful God, so they can feel like they're the brave guardians protecting the world.
They both need it to be the most important thing ever.
Both sides absolutely refuse to accept the third possibility, that it's just math, that it's a very sophisticated but ultimately lifeless statistical tool.
Wow, that's actually a really powerful point. If AI is just a really, really good autocomplete, then both the savior narrative and the destroyer narrative completely fall apart.
They evaporate. The text says they are praying to the same hollow icon because they need the stakes to be high to justify their own existence. If the Falcon is just lead, the whole movie is over.
And if AI is just statistics, the tech visionary is just a guy selling software, and the AI safety researcher is just a guy worrying about a fancy calculator.
Ouch. That is scorching. But it makes sense, doesn't it? If the bird is real, if it's full of jewels, then everybody's actions, the greed, the fear, the obsession are justified. If the bird is fake, they're all just running around in circles for nothing.
And that brings us to the high stakes. Why does this all matter? Why should you, listening to this, care about this philosophical distinction?
Because the danger, according to our source, isn't that AI becomes super intelligent and enslaves us. The real danger is that we will continue to insist that it must be meaningful.
And what happens if we do that? What's the harm in pretending the lead bird is gold? We're keeping the movie going, right?
The harm is that we outsource the last vestiges of our own meaning-making capacity to a clockwork symbol.
A clockwork symbol, like a mechanical fortune teller from an old carnival.
Exactly. Think about it. If we truly believe the machine has the answers, or even that the machine understands our deepest questions about life, love, and purpose, we stop looking for answers ourselves.
We stop doing the hard work of being human.
We risk surrendering to these opaque processes that we ideologically fetishize. We're mistaking our own spiritual crisis for a technological leap.
So we're looking for a spiritual savior, but we're building it out of Silicon and Python scripts.
And then we get shocked or angry or disappointed when it hallucinates facts about who won the Super Bowl or makes up a legal precedent in a court case that never happened.
Right. But notice how we even talk about it. We don't just say, oh, the software has a bug. We say, it's hallucinating. We use these human, almost mystical terms. We give it these human qualities.
We treat it like a drunk oracle rather than a faulty toaster, and that distinction is everything. If your toaster burns the toast, you don't write a long philosophy paper about the toaster's intentions or its alignment with human breakfast values.
You just fix the heating element or buy a new toaster.
But with AI, we project intention. We project a mind. We project meaning.
Okay, so that's the drama. It's a huge one. We are lonely, unmoored humans looking for a god, and we've decided these black box is it. We found a lead bird, and we are screaming at the top of our lungs that it's pure gold. Now, let's go down to the engine room. I want to understand the logic that powers this entire argument. The source talks about a core binary. What are the two opposing forces here?
The core binary is meaning versus simulation. Or, to put it in the slightly more philosophical terms used in the text, the signifier versus the void.
Break that down for me.
Okay. On one side, you have our desire, our deep, profound desire for a ghost in the machine. We desperately want there to be a someone home inside the computer.
So when ChatGPT makes a clever joke, we want to believe it has a sense of humor.
Exactly. Or when it writes a sad poem, we want to believe it understands sadness. That is our search for meaning.
And on the other side,
Yeah.
what's the opposing force?
Reality, the reality of nested statistical functions. That is simulation. The source paints this fantastic picture. It's the difference between the transparent bureaucrat and the inscrutable priest.
I love that image. The transparent bureaucrat versus the inscrutable priest. Paint that picture for me.
Okay, think about it. Imagine if AI were totally transparent. Imagine an interface that showed you every single calculation it was making. Every time it output a word, a little sidebar would pop up and say, I'm selecting the word apple because it has a 42.17% probability rating in this context based on my training data from Wikipedia, whereas orange only had a 12.3% rating.
That would be incredibly dry. It would kill the vibe immediately. There would be no magic at all.
It would be a transparent bureaucrat. It would be useful, sure,
Yeah.
boring, predictable, reliable, but it wouldn't be magical. It would be Microsoft Excel.
And nobody worships Excel.
Nobody thinks Excel is going to bring about the singularity or destroy the human race. Excel is just a tool. But because modern AI is a black box, because it is opaque, because we literally cannot track the logic through billions and billions of parameters, it becomes the inscrutable priest.
We can't see how it works, so we assume it works via some kind of magic.
We assume there is a secret wisdom inside the darkness. We project our hopes and fears into that void.
So the opacity,
Yeah.
the fact that we don't understand it, is actually necessary for the entire cult to function.
It is a structural necessity. The source calls it a sacred requirement. If we could see inside, the magic would die. We need the black box to project our myths onto. We need a dark room to imagine our gods or our monsters are living in. If you turn on the lights, you just see the empty corners and some dust bunnies.
That reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yes.
As soon as you see the man, the great and powerful Oz is just a guy from Kansas with a megaphone and some smoke machines.
Precisely. And if you see the statistical weights in the tensor calculus, the great and powerful GPT is just a really, really big regression model. And this leads us directly to the hidden mechanism of the text, the empty signifier rule.
This is the core concept, right? The empty signifier. It sounds academic, but let's make it super practical.
The rule is this. A symbol works best because it is empty, not in spite of it.
Wait, run that by me again. It works because it's empty. That feels counterintuitive.
Think about a really powerful word, a word like freedom, or the nation, or justice. These are huge, powerful concepts that people will literally die for.
Okay.
But if you tried to pin down exactly specifically what freedom meant. Like, if you defined it as freedom means being allowed to eat a ham sandwich at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday in Ohio, it immediately loses all its power.
Because it's way too specific. It alienates people who want to eat at 3 p.m. or who are vegetarian or who don't live in Ohio.
Exactly. Freedom works as a unifying concept because everyone can pour their own version of freedom into that bucket. You pour your desire for low taxes into it. I pour my desire for free speech into it. Someone else pours their desire to ride a motorcycle without a helmet into it. The bucket holds all of these contradictory desires because the word itself is undefined. It's empty.
Right, so freedom works because everyone can project their own fantasy onto it. It actually unifies people who might disagree on everything else because they all agree on the word.
And AI functions in exactly the same way because the term AI, or for that matter, the Falcon, has no fixed, stable meaning. It can absorb all demands. It becomes what the theorists call a nodal point.
So it can be the savior of the economy, the end of the world, the replacement for artists, the ultimate therapist, the perfect lover, all at the same time.
Yes. It absorbs all of our capital, all of our regulation, and all of our emotional energy, precisely because it is a floating signifier.
So investors pour billions into it because it's a vague enough promise that they can imagine infinite returns.
It is whatever you need it to be to justify a TED Talk or a stock valuation. If it were defined strictly and accurately as a statistical method for predicting the next token in a sequence, the stock price would plummet. The vagueness is where the value is.
The vagueness is the product. That is wild. It explains so much. It explains why the definition keeps shifting. As soon as we figure out how to do something like optical character recognition or playing chess, we stop calling it AI. We just call it software.
Exactly. AI is always the thing we can't quite do yet or the thing we don't fully understand yet. And this connects right back to the Maltese Falcon. The object must be a lead fake for the plot to function. If the bird were real, if Sam Spade found the jewels in the first 5 minutes, the movie is over. The economy of desire, the chase itself, depends on the object being unattainable.
That is a fascinating thought. So we were in a global chase scene running after AI, and the moment we actually catch it and truly understand what it is, the whole thing might just collapse.
Or we just refuse to open the bag. We keep running, clutching the lead bird, telling ourselves, no, the jewels are definitely inside. I just haven't found the secret unlocking mechanism yet.
We're just waiting for the next update. GPT-5 will have the jewels, for sure this time. GPT-6 will definitely have consciousness. We just need more compute, more data.
Exactly. The jewels are in the next version. That is the central mantra of the cult of the empty signifier.
This is great. I feel like my brain is expanding, but we've thrown around some pretty big, heavy terms here. Empty signifier, objet petita, hyperreal. Let's move into the concept decoder section. I want to translate these for our listeners so they can drop them at a dinner party and sound wildly sophisticated without, looking like they're trying too hard.
Let's do it. The intellectual toolkit.
First up, the empty signifier. We've talked around it, but give me the absolute most concise cocktail party definition you can.
Okay, you're at the party, you say. Picture a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can pour any ideology, any fear, any hope into it. It never fills up because of the hole, but the act of everyone standing around pouring their stuff into this one bucket, that's what organizes the party. That's the empty signifier.
I love that. It's not about the bucket ever filling up. It's about organizing all the people around the bucket. Gives them a shared activity, a shared focus.
Precisely. The source context for this comes from two political theorists, Ernesto Laclau and Chantal Mouffe, and they describe it as a symbolic vessel void of inherent content, deployed to organize a field of meaning and desire around its very hollowness.
So AI isn't a technology in this sense. It's the bucket we're all standing around.
Correct. It knits together the chaotic real world into what feels like a coherent social order. The phrase, "we are all working on AI," makes us feel like we have a shared purpose, even if what we're all doing is completely different and maybe even contradictory.
Okay. Term number 2, objet petit. This is from Jacques Lacan. This one always trips people up. It sounds like something you'd order at a fancy French bistro.
The object small, it's famously difficult. Cocktail party definition. It's the carrot on the stick.
Okay, simple enough. I can work with that.
It is the object cause of desire. Crucially, it's not the object you actually want. It's the object that causes you to want in the first place. It's a stand-in for a fundamental lack in your being. If you ever actually caught the carrot, the game would be over, and you'd realize the carrot wasn't what you wanted at all. The flight, the chase, is the point.
Right. And the source says, the falcon is the perfect example. We don't desire the bird. We desire the mastery it represents, the lack itself, made beautiful and distant.
And with AI, we don't actually desire the chatbot. We desire the digital jouissance it promises but always eludes us. We desire the idea of a machine that knows us better than we know ourselves, that can fill the void. We desire the completion of our own broken nature.
And that desire is what keeps us subscribing, clicking, and prompting over and over. We are looking for that perfect moment of connection that never quite arrives.
And every time the AI almost gets it right, but not quite, it just hooks us deeper. The almost is the most addictive part.
Okay, term number 3, hyperreal or simulation. This is Jean Baudrillard. This is the stuff that inspired The Matrix.
It is. Cocktail party definition. Imagine a map that is so detailed it covers the entire territory one-to-one. Eventually, the real land underneath the map rots away from disuse, and people start living entirely on the map. After a while, they forget the land ever existed in the first place. The map becomes more real than the real. That's the hyperreal.
That is a deeply bleak image.
Baudrillard is pictured in the text sipping his ironic absinthe, which feels about right. He says AI is the perfect simulacrum of intelligence. It doesn't simulate thought. It simulates the outputs of thought.
Which connects to that stochastic parrot idea. It sounds so much like it's thinking that we just assume it's thinking.
Yes. The simulation is so good that we get into these huge, passionate arguments over its consciousness. The text has a great line here. We're like medieval scholastics debating how many angels can debug a tensor.
That's brilliant.
And the whole point of the simulation, for Baudrillard, is that it masks an absence of meaning in us. We use the intelligence of the machine to hide the fact that our own society has become kind of mindless and automated.
Oof. So if the machine is smart, we don't have to admit that we've become dumb.
Or that we've just become predictable. We fear robots becoming human, but Baudrillard would say we should really fear humans becoming robots. We are predictable, we are algorithmic. The AI just holds up a very clear, very unflattering mirror to that.
Okay, last term in the toolkit, the black box. The source connects this one to Slavoj Žižek.
It does, the cocktail party definition. It's a locked room that we are terrified to open. Not because we're afraid there's a monster inside, but because we're secretly terrified there's nothing inside.
Ah, the horror of the void. That's even scarier than a monster.
It's the ultimate horror. Žižek, as the source puts it, squints through his ideology glasses and points out our paranoid fantasy. There must be something in there. There has to be. We are terrified of the post-human desert. The alternative, that if we open the box, it's just math. Just a bunch of linear algebra. Is too traumatic to contemplate.
So we need the big other, a god, a system, an AI, to be in there guaranteeing that life has meaning.
We need it. So we keep the box locked and we tell ghost stories about what's inside. We prefer a scary story about a monster to a boring reality of an empty room.
We would rather believe the AI is secretly plotting to kill us than believe it doesn't care about us at all.
Exactly. Indifference is so much more terrifying than malice.
This is all starting to click in a really big way. It's all about our fundamental refusal to accept the emptiness. Which brings us, I think, to the aha moment, the payoff. We've been dancing around this, but let's hit the master analogy head on.
The master analogy is the lead falcon, the mirror.
We started with a bird. We ended with a mirror. Okay, lay it out for me.
The setup was the Maltese Falcon. The whole story is this frantic chase after a fake statue. But the source takes it a crucial step further. The black box of AI isn't just an empty container, it's a mirror.
How so? What does that mean, practically?
It means when we look into AI, when we're prompting it, searching for intelligence, for consciousness, for some kind of soul, the only thing looking back at us is us.
Because it's trained on our data.
Well,
all of it.
It's trained on the internet, it's trained on our books, our scientific papers, our Reddit comments, our Harry Potter fan fiction, our computer code, our political screeds. AI thinks like we do because it is a statistical reflection of us, just digitized, blended, and regurgitated.
The source puts it so well. AI thinks like we do, full of contradictions and coffee stains, except it's better at hiding the stains.
It's the ultimate summarization of the human project, warts and all.
So when we get scared of AI being biased or hateful or just plain weird, we're scared of ourselves.
We are scared of seeing our own reflection without the usual human filter. We are seeing the raw statistical output of humanity's collective psyche. And that can be ugly, it can be biased, it can be hateful, it can be nonsensical, and sometimes it can be brilliant. But it is always fundamentally us.
It's like hearing your own voice on a recording for the first time and hating it, but on a civilizational scale.
That is a perfect way to put it. That's exactly what it is. And the text puts it even more cynically, saying, the call from the future is just our own voice, digitized, delayed, and played back to us with commercial breaks.
Wow, with commercial breaks, that really, really nails it. We are monetizing our own reflection. We are paying a subscription fee to talk to ourselves.
We are. And that brings us to the mic drop quote from the text. If you take one single thing away from this whole deep dive, this should be it. The Falcon does not exist. The call from the future is just our own voice, and the black box is empty.
That gives me chills. It's so lonely.
It is lonely, but it's also clarifying, isn't it? It strips away all the myth and all the hype.
I want to try out some of those audio hooks the source suggested, just to see how they land now that we've gone through the whole theory. Hook number 1. We don't want AI to think. We are terrified of genuine machine thought. We just want it to mean.
Yeah, that lands. I think that's right. If AI actually thought, its thoughts might be completely alien to us. It might decide we're irrelevant. It might decide to just ignore us. We don't want that. We want a pet. A very, very smart pet that tells us we're special.
Okay, hook 2. Silicon Valley's disruption often disrupts nothing but our bank accounts. It is a rhetorical black hole sucking in billions while outputting hype.
Cynical, but structurally accurate, according to the empty signifier theory we just walked through. The value is in the promise, not the delivery. The promise is the asset.
And hook number 3. The danger isn't Skynet. The danger is that we are building mirrors for our own neurotic need for meaning, because without these fictions, the world feels as coherent as a chatbox grocery list.
That's the one. That's the core fear. The fear of the grocery list. The fear of randomness. The fear that there is no plot, no script to the movie of our lives.
It's funny, we started this deep dive talking about falcons and 100-year-old poetry, and we've ended up in this deeply existential place. It makes me look at ChatGPT so differently now. I'm not looking at a wizard anymore. I'm looking at, well, a lead bird.
A lead bird that we are all furiously polishing, hoping against hope that it turns into gold.
So where does this leave us? We've reached the outro. We've synthesized Yeats, Hammett, and Silicon Valley. What's the final takeaway for everyone listening?
I think the ultimate synthesis is this. The cult of meaning doesn't worship the truth. It worships the container. The falcon, the nation, God, AI. These are the knitting needles we use to try to stitch reality into a coherent shape.
We're just trying to keep the sweater from completely unraveling.
We are. And the final provocation the source leaves us with is this. The only thing peering out from the heart of the machine, hungry for sense, is our own reflection.
It's like the end of a horror movie where you realize the monster in the house was you the whole time.
But the source adds a little twist. It says, this realization is terrifying, yes, but it's also hilariously, tragically human.
Hilarious. Why hilarious? It feels like a stretch.
Because we are trying so unbelievably hard. We are building these trillion-dollar saver farms, consuming the energy of small nations, employing the smartest people on Earth, all for what? To build a mirror that tells us, yes, you exist, I see you.
We're sending a message in a bottle, but we're just mailing it to ourselves.
We are, and the source suggests maybe the real doom isn't the AI takeover. It's realizing we've been falconed all along. We've duped ourselves with a MacGuffin of our own creation.
You know, there's something almost sweet and pathetic about that. We're just desperate not to be alone in the universe.
We are, and until we can face that loneliness, until we can look at the vacancy at the center without immediately needing to fill it with a fake bird, we will just keep building these empty, expensive shrines.
Well, on that cheery existential note, I think I'm going to go stare into a mirror and see if I can spot the statistical functions.
Just don't expect the mirror to blink back.
Keep chasing the bird, everyone.
Keep chasing the bird.